Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome back to a brand new Fallout 76 camp. So, a little bit different today. We're doing a tour rather than a build video, mostly because the building in this one is relatively basic and simple and really isn't that extensive, so it didn't seem worth taking up the time to include it. I will talk you through it when we get to it in just a moment, though. So the idea behind this one was based on the Houseboat build I did a few weeks ago back by the Nuka-Cola plant. I thought it would be fun to do a similar sort of build, kind of, only with the houseboat on the back of a trailer that had crashed somewhere and somebody had discovered it and thought, well, I'll dig for a shelter, let's move in. So that's basically what I've done. We ran into a few problems along the way, but I think we've managed to make something work here, and I'm quite happy with the functional result. So, here's where we are on the map. There's my crashed houseboat trailer thing, and we're right by Summersville Lake here, just down from the town of Summersville and the White Springs over there. My idea is that they were driving up the road from Charleston, and this is where they got when they crashed. So yeah, good spot, reasonably flat, quite popular though, so that is the drawback. There's some competition for this spot. Not flat enough though, unfortunately. So there we go, this is the final result. As you can see on the right there is the truck. It's actually a power armor station, and I put that in first to make it look like it crashed into the post. And then after that, I free-placed in the land-based houseboat, just sort of positioned it behind the truck to look like it was being towed. I did it in that order because the ground is not as flat as I was hoping, and in order to actually get stuff underneath it, I needed a little bit of clearance. But unfortunately, the wheels really aren't big enough, and neither are the flatbeds. So I had to use a whole bunch of them. These are actually labelled as small flatbed, and they really are small. I was hoping one might be enough. It really wasn't. Oh well. But yeah. Basically, once I got that houseboat in place, I came along afterwards and then free-placed the flatbeds underneath to look like a single trailer beneath it, or as much as possible. I'll have a look up close in a moment, and you'll be able to see how it connects to or appears to connect to the back of the truck there. And then after that, it's just, the rest is just tucked under the edges to make it look like you can see both edges of a very large trailer. Not quite perfect, but I think it's as close as we're going to get right now. The big drawback, as I say, is that the ground here is not flat, and unfortunately, that means we've got a few floating wheels. So what I've done to kind of fix that, you can sort of see underneath there is a heap of rocks right about there. The same on the other side. My idea is that the driver was coming along from Charleston, heading towards Summersville, veered off the road for some reason and tried to swing back in before hitting the post. And in the process of that, the trailer got wedged on a couple of rocks, and there it has remained. So that's my headcanon for this, and then explains why the wheels are not entirely on the ground. And some of the edge of that taken off by putting a lot of grass there that's grown back. So I think that looks alright. A little bit of extra decor around there. You can sort of see underneath the back end there's a little wooden support for the back end of the boat here. Because on those two rocks it would be wobbly as anything. So I figure when the new homeowner, my character, had decided to take over this place, probably climbed up and explored it a little bit, and it probably wobbled under his feet when he was climbing on it. So he decided to put some extra support in the back there. So there's a couple of, basically, platforms built underneath the back end to prop it up, that you can see there. And obviously these back steps don't reach the ground, so we've put a little set of boards under there and some more steps in order to support it. I was going to try and show you the rocks around this side, but unfortunately they're sort of somewhere behind the toilet, so you really can't see them. I've kind of concealed it all, but there are rocks under there on this side as well. Let's swing over this way a little bit, and yeah, adding a load of decoration and stuff has brought this together okay, and I think we've got a decent result, especially once you conceal the fact that the tyres are floating a little bit, but what can you do? Makeshifting is always going to be a bit iffy. Yeah, up on this side I've put a few practical bits and pieces you would need for your home. I love the Collectron there, that's the Liberator one. Little wood chopping area that I put in a lot of camps lately because I like doing that. It's a stash box, stabbed weapon, and then the wood producer there. So for the toilet here, what I've done is the opposite of what I've done fairly recently, which is in the past I would use a rug and the pressure plate to merge it down. This time I just put it straight in, the outhouse that being, and then moved these stairs up to the front of it because they will clip into the ground. Obviously they're too wide, and the ones that are not too wide unfortunately won't clip into the ground far enough. So I grabbed a platform, I think it's a wooden piece, possibly from one of the seasons a while ago, I forget exactly, but you can free place it in. So I did that and lined it up with the side of the outhouse so it was on the same level, and then just put the shower on the top of that, free placed again to make sure it fit just right. And yeah, I think it works alright. Similar principle along the front here, except we did actually have a wide enough platform there to cover the back end. I did want to try and use something a bit more narrow that would connect to the stairs, but unfortunately things don't sink to the ground properly and the transition really wasn't looking good or really that easy to walk up. So building a little platform with a bit of free placement for that piece of flooring there, and then the foundation steps up against it, which makes for a much easier approach to the back of the camp. And we could decorate it up with a few bits and pieces to hopefully persuade people not to cause any trouble, because this is not exactly a concealed camp, and if the wasteland is dangerous, then being on a main road is not the safest place to set up home. There's quite a bit of free placement merging going on in this camp, because it is very, very small. So we've got an ammo box there and a scrap box merged into the top. Again, just free placement, dead easy to do, no hassle at all. It's very practical, just by the entrance to the camp, so easy to get to when you want to drop your stuff off. Armour bench out here as well, looks alright. Got a few bits and pieces to dress that up with. Do quite like the mannequin there with the Science Scribe outfit and the Cultist Incarnate helmet, that one is. The gas mask there, I think it's quite a good combo, that one. Sufficiently intimidating to suggest that maybe this is not the ideal place to rob, because we are not exactly concealed. Pirate ship prefab, which is a Fallout 1st prefab from ages ago. That's where those doors come from. And I figure if they've got keys, then it'll keep the worst of the denizens out. Perhaps not the most determined ones, but still. I've never used the cannery station since we got it before, so I decided to include it in this one. It's actually useful for grilled fish. And quite helpful. I've kept the workbenches to a minimum, just my absolute essentials here. So we've got a combination of Tinker's Bench and Weapons Workbench here. I put the Tinker's Bench in first, and again, using free placement, just merged the Weapons Bench in, and if you look in the right spot, you can kind of tell that there's two things merged in there. The legs are a bit of a giveaway for starters, but on the whole, it looks like it's meant to look like this, mostly. And yeah, I think it works. I think it looks pretty decent. If you don't pull it apart too much, then I think that looks quite nice. And it works properly, so that's the main thing. Little coffee station here, because you got to. It's really helpful to have. And some extra bits and pieces decorated around there. Use the chessboard displays to add some sugar and milk and a coffee cup there. Everything else is just straight out of the build menu. Little seating area, sleeping bag at the end. There's not much else you can do with that piece of the boat, so putting a bed there makes sense. There's our cooking station. Just using free placement to push it back so the pipes are on the outside of the walls, so the place doesn't fill up with smoke. That should keep it nice and warm in here as well if you were to close the windows. Spice rack from, I think, the last season? This season? Recently, anyway. Very handy for generating especially salt. And a few extra bits and pieces around just to decorate up the workbenches and the cooking station and everything else to make it feel like they've been here a while and added some clutter. But yeah, I think it looks decently homey, decently compact, and yeah, not exactly cosy per se, but it'd certainly be warm and sheltered enough, and you could make do here, I think. There's glass in the windows and stuff, and the windows look like they probably still work, so all in all, I reckon that's not too bad. Just a little bit in danger given its location, I feel. It's a bit obvious to have a dangerous individual stumbling along with it being right by the road there, but yeah, I think on the whole this has come out quite nicely. I do like that vendor machine, as it doesn't take up too much room. It's reasonably easy to find, and yeah, it looks like a piece of rubbish that's been dragged back as well, which goes in with the kind of scrappy vibe that I do so adore. Yeah, all in all, I am rather pleased with the results on this one. Kind of wish a bit more of the grass had come back from where it's been bulldozed, but we do what we can to offset that a little bit. Yeah, reasonably clean where the functional areas are, I feel, apart from the leaves that I put in front of the toilet for some reason. But otherwise, looks like it's sort of grown back around and creates the image that I was going for. I do like that Liberator Collectron station. I had to grab it as soon as it came up, because I've wanted something like that for ages. Target there just because, no particular reason. I thought it would be fun to stick that there. Get a decent look at how it looks like the truck's crashed in and the dirt's built up around it over the time since there. Yeah, put those two statues on the front just because it felt like it needed something there. It looked a little bit too bare otherwise, so added those in. And I do like the way the petrified figures look as well. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, likes, subs and notification bell are, I do very much appreciate. Social media links down below if you want slightly better notifications as well. And channel memberships are available below the video as well if you'd like to support the channel. I very, very much appreciate that. If you get the chance as well, join us for live streams too. We're checking out the Outer Worlds at the moment. And of course, Burning Springs is not too far away either, so that should be fun to check out when the time comes as well. For now, I'll say thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.